Welcome to D.I.Y. Automotive School with my friend Pete and Minnie, the body shop girl. It's everything you need to know about cars and more.
Alright, I spoke with the owner of the vehicle and he has stated that he doesn't care if the inside pieces are painted or not. That includes under the hood and of course the fender. This is a service vehicle for his company that's got close to 300,000 miles on it, and when the motor blows out and everything burns up on it, he's just going to scrap the thing anyway. So in that situation, what you would want to do, alright, not the situation I'm talking about the situation of you at home doing your own collision repair. What you would want to do is, once again, you'd want to go ahead and refinish that the color of the vehicle or whatever you're doing. And at the same time, if you have to replace the hood, you'd go ahead, and this is the old hood that we got to replace because it's crushed down on that corner right there. I think you can see that. You'd go ahead and paint the back side of the hood, and also at the same time, the inside of the fender, which includes the upper lip, the door jamb part down there, back side of course, or front side, whatever you want to call it, and then the fender lip itself. So before we go ahead and put our fender structure, our inner fender structure, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and replace the upper core support. I'm actually thinking that there's probably nothing wrong with this, except it might have a little bend right here and a bend down here. But let me explain something. Even the smallest bend, this is the smallest tweak on something like that can screw the whole thing up. So it's better to go ahead and spend the extra cash and replace the part that's got the tweak or the bend in it and be done with it. Now that we've replaced the upper tie bar of our core support, I'm going to let everybody know what a core support is. A core support is the radiator support. That means that's what holds the radiator and the condenser into the vehicle. On this particular vehicle here, we just got so lucky that this is a bolt-on core support, meaning it's got an upper and a lower, and then everything fits in between. A lot of new cars that are unibody cars, this isn't a unibody car, this has a frame under it. A unibody car means there's no frame, and everything's bolted to the body of the car, including the suspension. On those, 9 out of 10 times, those are weld-on core supports, which is a much, what can I say, involved technical job. So we got lucky with this, but I want to go ahead and show you something here. By replacing this, I can already see that this is lining up a lot better. It bolted on really good. I didn't have any binding going on, and of course now we got this corner section right here nice and square and straight to match everything else that we're replacing. So now we're going to go ahead and put the inner fender structure onto the vehicle. Once again, the owner doesn't really want to paint it. This is a work vehicle. He doesn't care about it. He wants to save money. Fine with me. Really didn't want to take the time out to paint all that crap anyway, and no one's ever going to see it. And let's get that thing into the vehicle, and let's go ahead and get it welded in and placed so we can move down the line with our collision job. Saving money, doing the job right, and making it easy on you and me to get the vehicle out of the shop. All right, now that we got the upper tie bar installed on the vehicle, we're going to go ahead and put our inner fender well back on. So we're going to slide this over here. Bring it up. Let's give this a hassle as well. Get that going. That should go in here. Right there, okay. Now that we got that installed, what we're going to do is we're going to go over and bolt this piece back to where the location from the factory was. Now I'm going to take my body hammer. And then we got 2 more bolts that are up inside here. Let's see if those are going to line up. And then what we'll do is we'll take a Phillips screwdriver. Find our bolt hole, and it's way back here. Where's this one at? We don't know. I can't feel it. And I'd like to go ahead and give everybody a tech tip out there. If you plan on doing this for a living, invest in a lift. Alright? Working on your knees can really be a pain. So if you're going to do this for long periods of time, try to get a lift, because it will actually help you out to own. Alright, what I'm trying to do down here, I'm lining the holes up, and I'm using a Phillips screwdriver to do that with. This is a standard number 2 Phillips, too big. Got me a number 1 right here. Let's see if we can get that lined up so we can tighten it up. It's right on the edge, right there. There's one right there. Let's see if we can. Now, a lot of people would probably pass this up if it didn't work right and just weld it or something. I don't like doing stuff that way. I would rather do it the factory way, because that's the way it was made. Just broke a bolt, so we will not be putting that one in. What we will be doing is spot welding that to the front section. At least we got 1 bolt in there and got it down where it needs to be. Alright, so we got the back installed. Let's move up to the front. I'm going to go ahead and install all that, and then when we come back, we'll go ahead and weld that in, and then put the whole thing back together, and hopefully everything's going to line up. And I want to let everybody know the reason this is up in the air right here is if you look down there, you can see I actually have a 2x4 block holding the radiator up, and that was for me to actually get this piece in there, because, yeah, you got the idea. I was lifting the radiator up to slide it in, and then I'll take that 2x4 out. So that's why that thing's up in the air. No need to fear. We'll get it. We got to bolt our bottom tie bar radiator support bracket back on both sides. I'm going to go ahead and bolt the frame back down right here to the fender section. And then what I'll do is I will hammer and dolly all this. We'll get all that screwed together and lined up, and then I will weld that across there. The owner did opt out from painting this. I don't know if I mentioned that. This thing's got 325,000 miles on it. It's a work truck, and he said just get it together so it can be drivable. But it looks a lot better, a lot better. we just went ahead and welded our inner structure back onto the vehicle. Does it fit perfect? No. Does not fit flawlessly, make perfect. The owner requested that he wants this thing running and driving. He doesn't care if it fits perfect. He just wants it running and driving and down the road. I can actually sit here and do more finessing to it and do more work to it if I want and get it to where it's perfect, but we're going to stop right there because the owner requested that he doesn't want a lot of time in it. It's just a work truck with over 300,000 miles on it. Now that we got the inner fender structure installed, you can see that we got all of the wiring back where it goes, got our computer brain back in its place. All the wire harness is now running down the side of the inner fender, coming out and going to where it's supposed to go. We had a little bit of an issue with our natural gas setup. We had to remount that and locate it. We had some bent pipes, of course, from the accident, so we got all that installed. But before we go ahead and do anything else to it, and you can see it really came out nice, everything lined up good. Once again, I want to tell everybody, the owner did not want to paint that. He said it's a work van. Go ahead and just install everything, paint the outside only, so that's what we're doing. This was a real nightmare here, this thing here. We had to take all that out to get back inside here because at first I was presuming I was going to go all the way into the firewall and remove everything, but we went to here because this piece didn't include this piece. So we went ahead and did that instead. You can see it came out really, really nice. And it worked out really good. So we got everything back together, but we ran into another problem, and it happens to be right here. And what this is where our hinge bolts on. And I don't know if you can see it at the angle that I'm moving the camera around. You can see that the hinge has bent it down this way versus this side here. You can see that it's nice and flat and straight. Now, I just want to let everybody know, I'm going to show you this because this is what you call a scam situation here. This is what you call paint and body scam shop, making money and not finishing the job right. Les actually took this vehicle to a frame shop to have it straightened. He didn't think my frame machine could do it, which it could have, because all he did is pull everything this way. That's it. All right, because it pushed everything that way. All we had to do is grab it down on the bottom there a couple times, bam, bam, all right, and we could have pulled all that back and straightened it out. The frame wasn't damaged, but one thing that was damaged is over there. It's the where the hinge is. So I called the guy and I specifically told him, I said, try to straighten everything out you can, and if you can possibly do it, straighten out where the hinge is at. Now, to straighten that out, of course, you're going to use a frame machine, but then you're going to put an extension arm on the top so you can come up and down on top of it to pull that up. Well, he didn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that. So he didn't do what we asked him to do, and he went and charged the owner, Les, charged him $800 for 2 pulls on his frame machine, which required a pull right here in this area, and then he pulled right here. And the reason I know that is because if you look right here, you can see where the mo-clamp was biting down on it here, and then you can see where the mo-clamp was biting on it right here. You can see the teeth where the puller was doing the job. So that was basically the only 2 pulls he did. It probably took him approximately 30 minutes to do the whole thing, and he charged him $700, $800 to do a job that should have only cost about maybe $200 at that. I think it was a little bit ridiculous. I think the owner got screwed on that deal, and I could have pulled this out with my frame machine, but instead he wanted to go to that guy because he says that guy specializes in frame work and frame machines. Whatever. His loss, not mine. So I'm hoping that, knowing that this sheet metal on these new vehicles is as cheap as it is, I am actually going to take my slide hammer. I have it bolted down with my chain puller, and we're going to try to get that back straight, just like that, and it looks like it's working out. Wow. That was such a hard job, Mr. $800 frame guy. Hard job to get that back in shape to where it should be so we can have a nice straight hinge, guy. fucker! There you go. It looks like that's straightened out, and it looks like we fixed it. We had a phone call. I have a few items on Craigslist. I'm sure everybody's familiar with Craigslist, because when you sell stuff on Craigslist, the first thing that people ask is how much is it? It's in the ad. Okay, what's the cheapest you'll take for it? It specifically says in the ad, I will not go any cheaper because it's brand new and I'm already losing money. I don't understand. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this thing up. This is a handy item, okay? This is a slide hammer, the Big Daddy slide hammer. Comes with all these fittings, real good tool to have. And I very rarely ever use this. The only time I use this is when I'm pulling stuff like this out. But let me take that off. Let's see what it looks like now after I pulled it out. And then if you look at it now, you can see it's all flat, and it looks like it's going to work out nice. Looks like it might be a little high here. We're not going to mess with nothing. We're going to leave it like that. If we got to adjust that and go down with it, I'd rather go down with it than come up with it, if that makes any sense. So, we're going to get everything bolted on. We're going to see how everything lines up, and hopefully this thing's going to look like a new van when my friend Pete gets done with it. We'll be back after the whole thing's together. But if you want to save money, if you want to do this at home, that's the situation you have. Every car is different. Every car is, what can we say, is going to give you a different type of problem. We got lucky on this one because the upper and lower core support brackets, those bolted on instead of welded on. If that was a weld-on situation, we would have had to replace the whole core support, top and bottom, and all surrounding. We would have to take the radiator out. We would have to take the transmission coolers, the condensers, and everything would have to come out of this vehicle to go ahead and, yeah, you get the idea, replace that one thing. So this actually turned out to be a pretty easy job, believe it or not.
Watching D.I.Y. Automotive School. Classes don't stop till you know everything.